Dear sisters, let us get closer to Allah. Dear sisters, let us learn of Rasulullah. Dear sisters, let's make the future bright. Dear sisters, mothers, daughters and wives. Dear sisters, let us get closer to Allah.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على الرسول الصادق الأمين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. My dear sisters in Islam, welcome to a new live episode of your program, Dear Sisters. Dear Sisters is a program, as all of you know, where we're with you live for an entire hour to take your questions and hear your thoughts and comments about any issue relating to Muslim sisters and to relationships in general. And alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, this afternoon I'm really honored to be joined by our permanent guest on this program, Sheikh Ibrahim Zidan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you doing this afternoon?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Many issues that our sisters deal with on a daily basis, and I think we could take a moment, inshallah, to talk about one of these major issues, which is the idea of marital problems that a lot of husbands and wives deal with. Obviously, people at different age groups, but mostly the problems happen with newlyweds. Inshallah, we'll talk about it. Let me just remind our brothers and sisters of our phone numbers, especially our sisters, 002-0238-555, 248 or 249, inshallah, 002-0238-555, 248 or 249. Give us a call, inshallah, at any time beginning right now so we can take your questions. Shaykh Ibrahim, subhanAllah, as you know, the major shayateen were chained during the month of Ramadan, and they came out in full force right after the month of Ramadan ended. And wallahi, Shaykh Ibrahim, I know of quite a few people, a husband and wife, who had the biggest fight that they ever had in their life on the morning of Eid. Right before Salat al-Eid, before maybe they're getting dressed, they're getting the family ready, and then they had a fight. And I know of families who every single Eid, okay, especially on Eid al-Fitr, they have a fight. Every single year. Your thoughts?
Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. Shaitan, our own nafs, and our own desires, when it comes before what we know of what is right and what is wrong. These are the elements that causes all these different disputes. People, when they get married, they had their previous life, and now it's a new life, and it's not them anymore only. There's someone else with them.
Yes.
There's some form of a sacrifice. When you live with someone, it's not just your desires. It's not what you want.
It's no longer me. It's we.
Right. And actually, family life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from the husband and the wife to be more into the rights of the other partner and not themselves necessarily. This is a great matter of ubudiyyah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a source of rewards that it's unimaginable. When you have this form of love which helps the person to do good, and the person is rewarded, but then you do what you want for yourself, and you fulfill the rights of others, and the beautiful words in the Quran, وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, you live with them with goodness. In my opinion, the major thing is we have certain things in our desires. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us unique as human beings in which we can know what is right and what is wrong, and based on the evidences from the Quran and the Sunnah. Don't make your desires interfere with what is right and what is wrong. We need to make the decision early on.
Okay, I want you to give us examples.
Right.
This is a very practical show.
Right.
You're saying our desires, and they contradict with what we know to be right and wrong from our own fitrah, from society at large, and of course, most importantly, from the Quran and Sunnah. Specifically
Let's say a simple dispute in the household, right? The husband is angry. One side is angry, right? Okay. You see, for example, say the wife is angry and I'm the husband, right? And I see her angry. Either I would act angrily or I don't act angrily, right? Thinking about it, I'm not in the state of anger, she is in the state of anger. So I have my senses still in place. Right.
But her being in a state of anger could cause you to be in a state of anger, especially if her actions that come out of her state of anger encourage that.
But I would know for sure that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from me is that I don't get into a state of anger when she's in anger too. So I would make a decision that won't affect me, right? Because I know that this is what is right. And then I would make sure that my desires does not interfere, and I would act with the situation accordingly. Abu Darda radiallahu anhu, he said something to that effect that basically makes the life between the husband and wife very beautiful for the rest of their lives. He said to his wife, if you see me angry, make me pleased. And if I see you angry, I will make you pleased. Otherwise, we can never live together. See, this is from the very beginning. But if I'm angry and you get angry, then it's not, life is not going to be the smooth life. So they have to make that decision when they're not angry with each other, that they prepare themselves.
Some people think the way that you're saying, the way that Abu Darda said, but only one-sided.
Right.
For example, the man would say, whenever you see me angry, don't get angry.
Right.
Make sure you please me. But he doesn't do the opposite, because, for example, he may think that that is a sign of weakness, for example. What is, I mean, my wife is just going to sit there and yell at me and I'm supposed to be quiet and do nothing?
Right. That the shaitan whispers to the person, definitely to do that for both sides. For the man's side, you know for sure that the qawama, you are in charge. So if she gets angry, right, and you think that she's going to take advantage of you, you're going to make the decision according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you, and there's no sins will be involved, that she won't do whatever she wants based on sins and so on and so forth. So your way will be there, inshallah ta'ala. So don't worry. The other side also, the wife might think, and the shaitan whispers, that if she does not get angry, then he will take advantage of her. Where is the concept of seeking help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being patient? And that's the difference between the believers and others. If you put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that changes the hearts. Again, we're not talking about sins or humiliating oneself to the extent of which a person cannot bear. Most of these differences are silly things, basically. Things and can be avoided and so on. So putting our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and seeking help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I know a brother, he used to do something very beautiful, but I know it's very difficult for people to do, but it's such a beautiful thing. Once they get into an argument, they had decided before that they would go ahead and make wudu and pray together.
SubhanAllah.
Right? And then after the prayer is finished, then they would see what's the situation then. Most of the time it's over with.
Yes.
Right? And that needs, of course, a high level of iman. And that's why the job to be done when they're not angry with each other is to build the iman. To constantly, do the good deeds, to do things together, whether it's 2 rak'ah at night together, whether it's to give charity, to think of ways to increase their good deeds and increase their iman, helping poor people.
And when you're saying that, you're talking specifically about joint good deeds.
Yes.
You're talking about not the husband will go and do his good deeds on his own, and the wife, of course, the individual need to do that, but you're specifically referring to joint good deeds.
Right.
Like, for example, when we mentioned charity, for example, together they go and they sponsor an orphan. Together they think of the poor family that lives, down the street.
It's easy to go to a masjid and to give money and that's it. MashaAllah, this is a good thing, and people should continue to do that.
Yes.
But where is the charity that you would give yourself and you would put the effort to find the poor and to give to the poor and to make it with their honor and dignity and so on? And the whole family can be part of this. The children also, they need to be raised with that attitude, to give others and so on. So definitely the husband is responsible, and that's why, I don't want to say 100%, but most of the time with the problems in the household, look for the husband's responsibility, because he's supposed to be in charge. If he's not in charge, that's his fault, that he left this matter to be for someone else. And if he's in charge, then why this is happening?
I know a lot of sisters are happy because of what you're saying. That most of the time it's the husband's fault, but maybe some brothers are watching us right now and they're saying you're saying this because you're on a program called Dear Sisters.
Right. No, it's his fault, not in the sense that the wife doesn't have fault. No, when she is in fault, the husband's supposed to be able to react to it in the proper way.
So basically, either way, whether it doesn't matter what the situation is, it doesn't matter if he is at fault or if she's at fault, he still has the responsibility to take a leading role. Right? Like his leading role does not end only when things are going good in the house. Actually, his leading role is more serious when things are going bad.
He's responsible for her religion, not just for financial abilities. If he sees his wife, her iman is down. If she's treating her husband in a bad way, which is against her religion, she is losing, she is committing sins by disobeying her husband. He sees this, he's worried about her religion. So he has to do something to save her religion and to increase her iman, even if he waits till the matter goes down and then he can work on matters of iman. It's his responsibility.
Jazakallah khair. Barakallah feek. Sister Fatima from Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum, Sister Fatima.
Hello.
Can you higher your voice just a bit, because I can barely hear you? Looks like the phone line was cut off. Inshallah, try to give us a call back, Sister Fatima. My dear sisters, let me remind you of our phone numbers. So you can give us a call, inshallah, beginning right now. 002-0238-555, 248 or 249. That's 002-0238-555, 248 or 249, inshallah. Sheikh Ibrahim, when we're talking about problems between the husband and the wife, many times they say that our problems never started until the kids came. Is that a true statement, or was there some sort of an underlying problem before the kids and they're using the kids as an excuse?
It's the second one. There's no problems that comes out like this without any roots to it. And if people search and know exactly what's in their hearts, sometimes actually diseases in the heart, they do not show except at the moment of death, which is a very serious matter.
Can you explain that?
You know that the good ending or a bad ending is a serious matter in the religion of Islam.
Husn al-Khatima wa Su al-Khatima.
Naam. And if a person is leaving himself and not working on one's heart, a disease, a doubtful matter, for example, that the person didn't work with matters of knowledge to clear that doubt in his heart, and he leaves it and he put his head in the sand and he doesn't care about it. Comes in the moment of death and the shaitan brings it up. And it makes a person dies in state of, for example, doubt or whatever there is. It's very important that we work on ourselves, before things or fitan comes and a person's diseases of the heart will come out. The same thing when times of ease, everybody is the same. Times of fitan, people become different. Why? Because of their problems that is present in their hearts. So it's not that something happened and that they became bad. No, it's already there. And that's why we need to do something to push away evil. Evil does not just come by itself. We have evil within ourselves. Unless we push it away, then it will come to us.
SubhanAllah, many people, as you said, and as I said, use the kids as an excuse, when in reality the kids are not the excuse, the kids are the victim.
Right.
The victim of the foolishness, to be honest, of both the husband and the wife, or in some cases of only one side. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that, SubhanAllah, the husband and the wife, they get in a fight, something that's between them. They take it out on the kids. Okay, the wife starts beating the kids daily. Why? Because I'm frustrated. Because I'm, emotionally unstable right now because of this. The husband, he stopped spending on the house. Why? Because let her take care of this. And SubhanAllah, this is what one person told me. He told me, he wasn't spending on the house. He wasn't even bringing food to the house. So I asked him, why are you doing this? He said, I would bring it if I was assured that it's only for my kids. And that she, meaning his wife, would not eat anything from it. So in order, mashallah, to clear any doubts in his mind that the wife would eat a single thing from the food that he brought, what does he do? Bring nothing at all. So SubhanAllah, sometimes the kids, actually many times, the kids become the victim of the foolishness of both the husband and the wife. And SubhanAllah, that causes a lot of problems in the entire family.
Where is the certainty in the day of judgment and standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And
the problem is that we forget that when we get married, that we're not treating this other person, we're treating Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
No.
Our main relationship in the marriage is not between me and my wife, or my wife and me. It's between me and Allah.
No.
And the sister, between her and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
And you touched a very important point, because people do not know exactly one another in the full sense, because a man is not a woman and a woman is not a man.
Yes.
So for a woman to understand exactly how the man feels, this is impossible, because she's not that. And the same thing for the man. But it's enough for us, the deen of Allah. So if the deen of Allah says to the woman, for example, to be obedient to her husband, that's it. It doesn't need for her to understand why. If he does this, then he's this. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered you. The Prophet ﷺ ordered you. And that's enough for you. You just submit yourself. The same thing for the man. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered him to be kind to the woman, if the Prophet ﷺ said, "Istawsu bin nisa'i khayra," the way of the Prophet ﷺ towards his wife is in such a way, that's it. Whether he enters the house and he finds his wife in a bad mood, he doesn't know why. It doesn't matter. Right? And then he gets mad at her. You just need to be kind to her, whether she's in a good mood or a bad mood.
You remind me of what people say, men are from Venus, women are from Mars, or it's the opposite, I'm not sure. I actually heard the lecture once, the title of the lecture was Men are from Mecca, women are from Medina. to show, subhanAllah, that how different we are. But as you said, we should accept who we are and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us for the way it is. We shouldn't try, to change.
Right.
Can you give us some of the things that are unique to women, for example, that a husband who might be watching us right now should take into consideration?
As we all know, women are more emotional than men. So there are certain, even hormones are different, things are different, and she goes through certain things, cycle every month, that affects her, mentally and emotionally and so on. And the husband should understand that, right? And also the woman should express herself in such a way,
yes,
when she is in a bad mood, when she's not feeling good, there is no need for her to be angry. She can be tired and not feeling good and say nice words to the husband that would express, her situation in a nice way, and he should be understandable. But the problem is when she's, for example, not feeling well and she would treat him bad or say something bad to him. This is not good. So being patient, meaning that you force yourself to do what is right, even if it's against your desire, because this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you now.
Yes.
Allah is the most wise. Nothing happens, whether it's feelings or anything physical, unless it's meant to be this way. For what reason? Either it's a relationship and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing us. وَجَعَلْنَا بَعْضَكُمْ لِبَعْضٍ فِتْنَةً أَتَصْبِرُونَ. He's a fitna for you, she's a fitna for him. So are you going to be patient by knowing exactly how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to treat him and the other way too? By knowing that and by being patient, it doesn't mean that we will be perfect, and that's why there's room for forgiveness. If he does not fulfill your rights, forgive. Especially if it's something, a moment of weakness. Person get angry, raise his voice. Right? And then he realized that he did something wrong. People also will need to have the ability to forgive. If somebody, Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, he said a beautiful statement in relationships. You heard someone saying something bad about you, right? Then you go confront that person and tell him, did you say this about me? If he says yes, then
forgive him.
Tell him why, no problem. If he says the reason is such and such, that should be the end of it. If he says no, and you have a tape even, if it's recorded, and you have the evidence that he said this about you, but you went to him and you said, did you say this about me? He said no, you stop at this point. That's it. And as if nothing happened. Because there is a reason why he said no. He's embarrassed, whatever there is. Forgive. People have moments of weaknesses. You also have moments of weaknesses. And you expect people to forgive you too if you would make mistakes.
Yes.
So it needs to work on ourselves, and it needs to work on our iman, basically, to seek rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Can you give us some practical tips for the sisters now, okay? Who are obviously our biggest viewing audience on this program are the sisters. What are some qualities of men that they should look out for to understand that men are different from them?
There are many, of course, differences, but one of which men usually are more concerned about that honor and dignity. So if the woman would try to humiliate her husband, thinking that she will be in control and that will be benefiting for her, she is basically doing a very severe thing.
So basically, this is what we're talking. We're not talking about honor when it comes to her, being in a bad place or in a bad situation.
Right.
That's kind of not what we're talking. When we're saying my honor, we're talking about me being a man. Right? And being in charge or being the one, the overarching person in control of the relationship, not being stepped on.
Right. She should make him feel that way, that he is someone he's the one that is responsible. She look up for to him and she respect him. The issue of words of respect. When people get in arguments and then she would say bad words to the husband, humiliating him. This is very severe to the relationship. But when she says words of respect, this definitely, as one of the famous stories of the woman advising her daughter before marriage, she said, be a slave to him, he will be a slave to you. But people don't see it this way. People with good manners, definitely, they respond will be in a good way.
But there's an idea today that if I be a slave to him, or the opposite, if I be a slave to her, then I'm going to continue being a slave to her for the rest of my life, and she's going to be my master, or he's going to be my master for the rest of my life, and he's going to keep humiliating me more. And actually, unfortunately, mothers and family members tell their daughters that from day one. She's like, this is how you get it right here. It's either now or never. If you allow him to, if you become a slave to him now, then you're going to continue to be that way for the rest of your life. SubhanAllah, foreign concepts to Islam. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Sisters, I know, mashallah, that you're enjoying this conversation, but we want you to take advantage of this special hour that's dedicated especially for you, inshallah, to give us a call and ask us some of your questions and share with us your thoughts. Anything related to Muslim sisters or to family relationships in general, inshallah. The number is 002-0238-555, 248 or 249. We have quite a few messages that we received on Facebook. Let me ask you the first question, inshallah. A sister says that she heard what she thinks could be a hadith, maybe it's a hadith or it's not, that a woman should not take off her clothes outside of the house of her husband. Meaning not even at her relative's house, not at a shop where she's trying on new clothes, or maybe at a beauty shop or something like that. Is there such a thing, and what are the dimensions of it?
Yes, and this is not permissible for the Muslim wife to basically do that and to take off her clothes other than her home. And in the sense that this would cause harm to her, meaning that would, subject her to harm's way, or people can see her in such a way. But it doesn't mean that if she's in her mother's house, for example, or something like that, that she would, take off her hijab and things like this. It doesn't mean this way, of course.
So we're talking about public places.
Right, public places or places that she might fear that somebody might see her.
Okay.
To the extent of which if a woman is in the masjid, in the women's section, and she knows that men can come in any time, right? And she's making salah, and she, for example, cover her face. She should not uncover her face because she might, somebody might walk in. So things like this. It's only in the matters of the place, the environment, things like that might lead to a sin.
How about a woman's only beauty shop, beauty salon?
Wallahi, these places, if it's secure, but I don't know. It depends from one place to the other. And also, a woman has to be careful that if the environment are women's that are sinners or they're not very practicing and so on, they might go home and then they describe other women to their husbands, which is a dangerous thing. And even women, when they go to weddings, it's something that women should be advised. Women can relax many things, and sometimes they wear certain clothes and so on. And they go home and they talk about, so and so, the wife.
Oh, she looked so beautiful today in this,
and she was doing this and she was doing that. This is haram. It's all sinful acts. So a person has to be careful. And now with mobile phones and cameras and things like this, so you have to be aware of the surroundings, especially when people are not on the same level of iman.
Okay, let me ask you a quick follow-up question related to that, and then we'll take a phone call, inshallah. A sister, actually the same sister, she's asking now, is it allowed for her to go to a beauty shop? Does it make a difference if the person, for example, to do some sort of beauty, things like waxing her body or something like that? Does it matter if the woman that's waxing her body is a Muslim or if she's not a Muslim? And she's not talking about the major awra. She's talking about other parts of the body that women usually remove the hair from.
Wallahi, if it's for a woman to expose herself to other women, this is not permissible. But when you say, if it's under the knees down, for example, maybe there's no problem. But over that, it's something that should be avoided, and she should do that herself, and not to expose herself to other women that way, whether she's a Muslim or non-Muslim, especially if they, would include touching. Plus, it's not a mandatory thing. It's not like going to a doctor. So exposing the awra in front of other women, if it's a doctor and it's needed, it's not supposed to be more than what is needed. So you can imagine if it's something that is not a necessity. So people should take the means that they would do it their own instead of exposing themselves.
Barakallah feek. Jazakallah khair. My dear sisters, we're going to take a short break, inshallah, because we have to. And then when we come back, inshallah, we'll take more of your phone calls. So stay with us, inshallah, and continue giving us a call on our phone lines. We'll see you after a short break, bi'idhnillah.
Dear sisters, let us get closer to Allah. Dear sisters, let us learn of Rasulullah.
Huda TV is proud to announce the launching of its first loyalty and rewarding program. Huda Fans Club aims at building a one-to-one relationship with our viewers. For an annual fee, club members varying from platinum, gold and silver card holders will be eligible to receive a great range of benefits, services. You will gain access to download versatile programs from educational, dawah programs and nasheeds clips. Also, your club membership card is a backstage studio pass created for those interested to explore behind-the-scene activities. You will enjoy priority when calling into live shows. Also, you can view samples of new programs in production before being aired worldwide. Take this opportunity to join us online and participate in our loyalty program on Huda TV. Huda Fans Club, where fans of Islamic media meet. Europe's forgotten heritage.
This is a sad reminder of the past history of the Muslims in the city. Nowadays, there are no Muslims anymore. These are the mosques that have remained. And it is really sad. Wait a second, this is Morocco. No, this is Tunisia, Algeria, North Africa, Egypt. No, this is all Europe, and this is all part of Spain. Islam spread first in Africa, and then from Africa it came over to Europe, and then it did developing work in Europe. Now, we look the other way around nowadays. The compass was invented by the Muslims. Many important inventions came from the time of the Muslims on the Iberian Peninsula. Instead of people becoming less in battles, as we normally know, as we know in battles obviously people die, but no, what was happening? The Spaniards recognized and realized the superiority of the Muslims and the treatment that the Muslims gave to the Christians and the Jews in Spain at that time, that they happily accepted Islam, many of them. And not over the fountain, as we've seen it before in other places in Greece. Now, it has some Arabic on top, as well as it had some Arabic down, where the tap used to be, or where the water was coming out.
Pack your bags, grab your passports, and join Dr. Stef Karis as he takes us through Europe and rediscovers Europe's forgotten heritage.
إن المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات والقانتين والقانتات والصادقين والصادقات والصابرين والصابرات والخاشعين والخاشعات والمتصدقين والمتصدقات والصائمين والصائمات والحافظين فروجهم والحافظات والذاكرين الله كثيرا والذاكرات أعد الله لهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما.
She remembers Allah in abundance. The woman of Jannah does not waste her precious time. More precious than a pearl necklace around her neck is a tasbih in her hand. This soothes her aching heart, which is always desirous of meeting Allah Ta'ala.
Sallallahu ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu ala Muhammad.
Dear sisters, let us get closer to Allah. Dear sisters, let us learn of Rasulullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear sisters, welcome back to your program, Dear Sisters. We're continuing, inshallah, to answer your questions that are coming in through Facebook right now, and also we'd love to take any questions that you have through our phone lines. So feel free, inshallah, to give us a call at 002-0238-555, 248 or 249. Beginning right now, inshallah, for the remaining half of this hour, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. Sheikh Ibrahim, this is a question actually by a brother, but I guess he's asking it for someone that he knows. He's saying, is it permissible for sisters to socialize on Facebook and Twitter with so-called male friends?
Well, this is an issue that it's a problem, and I personally take a very extreme view on this. Anything that would lead to any harm or sin, something that we need to stop it, and doesn't have to be that we say haram and halal. We have to be fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to protect our religion. If we understand that the most important thing in our life to be protected is the religion, then many things in our life we would leave some of the things that in the gray area for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that we protect our religion. The issue with these types of things, I'm just going to ask questions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered men and women to lower their gaze. How much harm is caused as a result of just opening pages like this, and how many pictures are being shown with women without hijab, with men in certain ways? How many times it's been there and people just see it and it becomes norm? The issue of chatting and things like that, it has some shaitan works on these types of things so much to work on the emotions of the people. The relationship between men and women is not just about lowering the gaze, it's to be away from one another as long as they're not mahrams or whatever. So my question is, why would a man and a woman chat or talk with each other, and why?
There's no reason, unless it's an emergency or something. Unless
Right.
I'm dying right now.
Even in the forums that are Muslims or da'wah or whatever,
Yes.
let's have da'wah practice for the sisters.
And we talked about that before.
Right,
on this program.
and let the brothers do their da'wah on their own. Shaitan comes in place. The Prophet ﷺ, the hadith, when he said if a woman goes out of her home, which is permissible,
Yes.
right? Istashrafaha shaitan. The istashrafa meaning that the shaitan looks up to her like this.
Yes.
That means what? He's watching her. He's waiting for the moment to cause sins, right? That's in something that is already halal, and of course if she's observing what is right, she won't fall into the sins and others won't fall into a sin. So imagine going into an environment like this, it's like going outside, right? And you have people behind the screens, they're different than they are when they're face to face. They act differently. They say things differently. The sin becomes so much easier for the person. Right? So we have to be careful. Plus, many times are being wasted. And if the husband would know this, or the wife would know that her husband is doing certain things, people need to be honest and truthful with their own selves, and like for others what they like for themselves. Because these types of sins, it does not stay within the person. It affects the whole family. And a wife doing something, her husband might fall into the same sin too. The same thing for the husband, the daughters, the sons, and so on.
So there's no such thing as we're just friends.
And there's no such
Even
a
on
thing.
Facebook,
Right,
not
there's
in
no
real
such
life.
thing. Even the disbelievers, they know that very well.
Yes.
There's no such a thing as friendship between men and women, in the way that people know.
Jazakallah khair. Sister Fayruz from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. How are you, sister?
I'm fine, thanks. I just want to ask a question, please.
Mm-hmm.
I work, and I have male colleagues, of course, at work. We stay here like 9 hours together. Normally we talk, deal at work, sometimes we eat together and do stuff. So, of course, we give respect and we try as much as we can, but we don't go out of the work atmosphere. But sometimes I'm not sure if I'm doing the best things that we shouldn't do, Just sometimes I'm feeling that if it's haram or not, so I wish to know what are the limitations if I deal with them 9 hours a day every day.
Okay. Jazakallah khair. Beautiful question, and it relates to what we were talking about. We were talking about Facebook, now we were talking about the dealings of men and women in the workplace when it comes to real life.
But I didn't hear actually all the details mentioned.
The main idea was that she has male colleagues. They spend a lot of hours together because of the work environment. They don't hang out after work, but they do deal with each other, and they may kind of have group chats or something while they're at work together. Basically, she's asking, how do I deal with my male colleagues who are at work?
Wallahi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy. But let me say this, if the necessity for the sister to work in an environment like this, it's a necessity, there's no other ways of her sustaining her life, it's different. But in many cases we choose to be in certain environments like this. So I would advise her to find a place where the environment is much healthier than that. And we need to do something to create this. It becomes the norm that we don't see that it's a wrong situation anymore. This is wrong. Even though, for people to spend many hours together, they're working together, it's not going to be only work. We have to be honest with each other. People will talk, and they would have, certain things. And you might say that I'm a good person and he's a good person. Yes, mashallah, but we are human beings and we are weak. And sometimes a person would fall into some weaknesses or a problem at home or something like this, and the shaitan beautify things, and things can happen, and it happens.
SubhanAllah, Shaykhna, remind me when you're saying, remind me of something. Even if the sister is good, and you're saying you're being too nice, because mashallah, you're a very nice person about the brothers, but to be honest, many of them aren't. I know of a man. He would work with a group of sisters, just like any regular work environment, and this person would be able to lure women into doing haram things with him by attacking their weaknesses. How? He would know, just by casual conversations, their life stories. So a sister, for example, who was engaged and then she broke off her engagement, this is a weak sister. A sister who's having a problem with her husband, she's a weak sister. A sister who's 35 and she's not getting married yet, she's a weak sister. So what would he do? He would try to become friends with them and eventually lead them into doing something that's haram.
SubhanAllah. And that's why, as you said, women sometimes they look into men the way women are.
Yes.
But men are different.
Yes.
And you have fatin and maftoon, as the ulama they say. You have someone that is originally he seeks the other side, and the other side supposed to be sought.
Yes.
Right? And one has physically more powerful than the other. So there's so many different things, and as you said, shaitan takes people in one step after the other. So fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us to lower the gaze. So the question is, would you be able to lower your gaze throughout the 9 hours of work or not? If not, then how many sins are being committed? And you add to that what is even more and worse. And plus, once people get comfortable with one another, it takes them to another level, even if there is nothing actually physical is happening. But this is even worse than when leading it right away. So for us to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to leave this for the sake of Allah. And I'm being very, people might take this what we're talking about here. Yes, for the sake of Allah, in the Day of Judgment, would you consider this something good or bad? Yes. Look at it from the perspective of the hereafter. And men, where are the men in the society? It's the responsibility for men to spend on women, and for them to be honored and dignified, not to be reminded that they are dependent on men. So this is also the problem with the men, they're not doing their work. And again, if the sister is talented and she can benefit the Muslims, look for an environment where it's only, sisters or something healthy.
Barakallah. Jazakallah khair. Sister Muhammad from Qatar. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Muhammad. I apologize, Sister Muhammad, I kept you on the line for a little bit too long. Inshallah, try to give us a call back. My dear sisters, continue, inshallah, giving us a call on our phone line 002-0238-555, 248 or 249, inshallah. We have another question from a sister who's asking, is it allowed for Muslim girls, teenagers, to wear jeans and a t-shirt?
You mean in the public?
Yeah, I mean outside the home.
Right. The word teenager actually, it irritates me sometimes, because it gives you the connotation that they are not responsible for their actions. In Islam, we don't have such a thing. It's when a person reaches the age of puberty, and as we said before, if a person dies on that day, he or she would either go to Jannah or the hellfire. That means we have responsibilities. It's a serious situation here. And that's why in Islam, a person is being raised 7 years old, it's a serious age, 10 years old is a serious age, and that's all before reaching the age of puberty.
Yes.
So teenagers, meaning they have reach the age of puberty, they are to be treated like full grown-up human beings. And it's not permissible for them to show their beauty, and they're supposed to observe hijab with all its conditions and all its means whatsoever and manners, and their etiquettes and manners with others should be observed 100%.
Alhamdulillah. SubhanAllah, we get so many positive comments about this program that I don't want to read them on the program because we'll spend the whole program reading them. So I try, even if a comment has some good part, let's talk praising the program, and then the question, we only focus on the questions. So a sister is asking, if a person is traveling and she cannot fast, instead of giving food to a needy person or making up the fast, can she give money to a needy person? If so, how much?
Of course, feeding someone, it has to be if she cannot make up the day. If a person has a permanent sickness, or something like this. But traveling and knowing that she can make up the day afterwards, there's no such a thing as feeding a poor person. She has to make up the day. Only if it's a permanent sickness or she cannot make up the day or old age and so on, then it's feeding and not giving money. Anything that has feeding in it, it's meant to be feeding. So
it's meant to bring actual physical food.
Right. But a person can give money to someone or a masjid or something that he trusts or she trusts, and they would buy the food and give it as food to the poor. The poor has to receive it as food. But in that case of traveling, breaking the fast as a result of traveling, no, she just make up
the only way is that she has to make it up.
Right.
Right? Jazakallah khair. We have Sister Fatima from South Africa. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Fatima, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, brother. Can you hear me? Walaikum salam. Can you hear me, brother?
Yes, I can hear. If you can just higher your voice just a bit so I can hear you better, inshallah. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
Yes. I'd like to ask a question, brother. If you're married to a man and he keeps throwing you out of telling you to leave from his home, and he keeps telling you to, he sends you messages that he doesn't want you anymore in his life.
Yes.
Yes. What would you say? What advice can you give, brother, about that?
Okay, inshallah. So the person is throwing the sister outside of the house constantly.
I'm married to him for 6 years now.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khairan, Sister Fatima. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help you, inshallah.
All the time.
Okay, inshallah, we'll answer you. Jazakallah khairan, Sister. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ease your struggle, inshallah. So a sister who is married to a person for 6 years, constantly, I'm assuming, whenever they get in a fight, one of the things that he does is he throws her outside of the house. He sends her messages that he no longer wants her. I'm guessing this ends at some point and then it becomes repetitive again. Advice to both her and to him also.
He needs to see someone. They both need to see someone that would advise them that this is not proper whatsoever. It's the man's responsibility to shelter his wife. It's her right. It's not a favor that he's doing to her. And that's why it's something that should be protected within the household. They should figure out their problems within the household, and he should not cause any physical harm to her. Right? This is irresponsible. Plus, where is what's muru'ah in English? What's the
manhood?
Manhood when it comes to, and then when he takes her, when he threw her out of the house, where she's gonna go? How can a man accept that his wife will go somewhere? This is not permissible whatsoever. And he should be advised, and she also need to know what's the root problem. She need to be patient with him and be kind with him for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And things need to be, increasing the iman, seeking help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But definitely this is not permissible whatsoever for someone to do that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy. But it's usually these things needs a local counseling. Need somebody that would advise the person, someone that he respects religiously and so on.
Jazakallah khair. SubhanAllah, we talked about problems today, marital problems. Let's talk about some of the hope for the family. The status of the Muslim family is so great in Islam that it is really the building block. That SubhanAllah, when earth started, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Adam alayhi salam and his wife to earth, they started as a family. That was the first building block. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have started with a nation, with like 10 tribes or like 10 countries, but He started with one family of a man and his wife.
Right. SubhanAllah, this is, it's verses in the Quran that means it's a good deed, it's part of our religion. My advice is to myself and everyone, this is part of our deen.
Yes.
Enjoy your gaining rewards through this relationship. And that's why we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not just with one act of worship. There's patience and there's struggle and there's all kinds of things. And we need to practice these acts of worship, especially in relationships like this. So, and never think that anything will be wasted. If you're kind, it's not wasted. You're doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes.
The issue of al-ihtisab, the worship of seeking rewards in everything that we do. A wife, for example, she's at home and taking care of the kids and her day is busy, she wants to read Quran, sometimes she can because of taking care of the kids. It's not wasted. You're doing that for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make your goal in your heart that you want to have and to raise your children to be true servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is not just a continuous reward in the children, but in the grandchildren and great-grandchildren, till the day of judgment.
Yep.
So what is a better thing in one's life? It's sometimes shaitan comes to women. You see other women, they only have one child or something like this, and they're taking care of themselves. They don't have too much headaches. And you have too many children, and they're causing so much trouble. This is basically, which is better? Which is best? The best is what gives you more rewards in the hereafter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you the ability to give birth for a reason. He's the most wise, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we need to witness the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be patient and obedient to Allah.
Jazakallah khair. SubhanAllah, we only have about a minute and a half left in the program. So let's just, SubhanAllah, give specific advice to the husband and wife when it comes to the idea of taking a leading role in fixing the relationship. Okay, because many times people say, I'm willing to fix the relationship, but he has to come and apologize first. I'm willing to fix the relationship, but she has to come and apologize to me because she's the one who started it. She's like, even if I was the one who started it, he's the one who said something bad about me or about my parents or something like that. Give us some advice, inshallah, when it comes to taking a leading role, whether it's the man or the wife, when it comes to trying to mend the relationship and come back to the beautiful Islamic faith.
The main thing is reflect upon yourself first and see where's the problem in yourself. Be honest and be truthful with oneself because you know yourself very well. The other side, even if it's your wife, you don't have full control over her. And the same thing for the wife. So reflect upon yourself first, and you have a fault, even if it's her fault. And you have a fault as a woman, even if the husband has a fault. So reflect upon that and repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and fix it and come forward. And it's not compromising whatsoever. And remember the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the woman, the one that when her husband is angry with her, she would come and she would hold his hand and she would say, I would never taste sleep till you're pleased with me.
SubhanAllah.
If she applies the orders of this way of the Prophet ﷺ, would then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make her husband humiliate her? There is no way, because she's doing that for the sake of Allah.
Yes. Again, it comes down to the idea of understanding that our relationship in a marriage is a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before it's a relationship with just another human being like us.
That's right.
Alhamdulillah.
Make dua. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful.
And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unite our families, make them strong, always make them the great building block for the Muslim Ummah, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan. I really appreciate your time this afternoon. Barakallah feek. My dear sisters, thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that there were many lessons that we said this afternoon about many subjects, but really the main subject was we need to bring together the Muslim family. All of us need to take a leading role. It's not only about the husband who needs to take a leading role in fixing family problems. The sisters also have a great responsibility, and of course the husband has as well. Let us forget about our own egos. Let us forget about what we want, our own desires, as Sheikh Ibrahim said, and let us go back to the way of the Quran and the Sunnah of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sisters, let us get closer to Allah. Dear sisters, let us learn of Rasulullah. Dear sisters, let's make the future bright. Dear sisters, mothers, daughters and wives. Dear sisters, let us get closer to Allah. Dear sisters, let us learn of Rasulullah. Dear sisters, let's make the future bright. Dear sisters, mothers, daughters and wives. Dear sisters, let us get closer to Allah. Dear sisters, let us learn of Rasulullah. Dear sisters, let's make the future bright. Dear sisters, mothers, daughters and wives.